so glad to be together and for us to be inside, with, especially with this weather. But now we've moved our services back inside after the high holidays, moving into Cheshvan. And the rabbis they would say about Cheshvan, right? Mar, exactly, bitter Cheshvan. Those were the ancient rabbis. You know what the modern rabbis say, right? It's matok. It's very sweet. So it is so wonderful to all be together on this Shabbat. So prayer books are right there in front of you. We're going to join together. All of those who are streaming into services, we welcome you. We are so glad that you are joining with us from wherever you are. We send you Shabbat blessings and Shabbat love to each of you. So we are going to begin this evening with Ma Yafeh Hayom, because how truly beautiful it is to have Rabbi Donnell and Wendy Bakarsky with us this wonderful weekend, and also how beautiful and wonderful it is to be accompanied by Nancy Rosen. Nancy, welcome. We are so glad to have you here, both of you here, to our new members. And immediately, what do? I rope you in for playing piano, so thank you very, very much. So how beautiful this Shabbat is. Ma Yafeh Hayom, page 10. Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So, being able to welcome Shabbat together in all of its sweetness and in its light, it is an honor to call forward two of our youngest new members, Adele and Liam. If the two of you will come on up and join me, we're going to all turn to page 2 in our prayer books for lighting of our Shabbat candles and with our Kiddush. Wonderful. So Liam, you, my friend, are going to help me with the candles. So I'm going to be your match, and you're going to light the candles for me. Here we go. Beautiful. Awesome. Ready? Blow it out. Cool. So we join together with our candle blessing on page 2. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehad likner, lehad likner. Shel Shabbat. As we turn to page 5, and Adele, will you hold on to our Kiddush cup, our grape juice, our fruit of the vine, and Rabbi Donnell is going to help us lead in our Kiddush.
Baruch atah
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, מאותנו קידשנו מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנהלתנו. Ready, hold it up. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Go ahead and enjoy a little bit of grape juice there. Is that good? Fantastic. Liam, do you want any grape juice? Okay, there you go. Share with your brother. Definitely. There you guys go. I know it's dry outside. Exactly. I wouldn't turn it down either. Exactly. There we go. It is going to be a good Shabbat. With all that wonderful sweetness with you guys. Thank you guys so very, very much. And that is so true, that how sweet Shabbat is, and especially to be together. Our hearts delight in Shabbat of these wonderful moments. And we turn to page 10, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh al Harachaman, Yedid Nefesh al Harachaman, Mishochav Decha El Retzonecha, Mishochav Decha, Yalla la 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 la,
Shabbat, when it comes, brings joy and it brings song. As a matter of fact, the Kabbalat Shabbat, the beginning of the Shabbat service, is actually a service of song, made up of psalms of our tradition, and of course, as we will do Lecha Dodi, a rich treasury of music. The great Jewish philosopher, Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, called the Shabbat the pause between the notes. When we think of music, we always think of the notes themselves, the melody that carry us and carry our souls. And yet it has been observed, playing the notes is the easy part. What makes a great musician is how they play the pause between the notes. Shabbat is our opportunity, amongst the melody of our lives and the sometimes cacophonous melodies of our day-to-day hustle and bustle, to concentrate on the pause, the moment, the thought, the soul-filled reality between the notes, and let them carry us along. And so we continue our Shabbat service with song, with the pauses and the notes played in harmony.
Lecha Dodi, page 20. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala pnei Shabbat, nekabla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala pnei Shabbat, nekabla. Shabbat, verse 9. גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. Please be seated. לך דדי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. לך דדי לקראת כלה, לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה, נקבלה. So as Rabbi Donnell was sharing with us in our Kabbalat Shabbat, the number of different psalms that we share preparing ourselves, allowing ourselves to let go of the week that was, all of the to-do lists, all of the work, all of the things that weigh us down. And so it's this wonderful journey through all of these psalms to then guide us toward then the call to worship, toward that service. But we have to prepare ourselves. And on this Shabbat, also in this wonderful Shabbaton, we are right before what I like to call the Festival of Chocolate, also known as Halloween. And with our ghouls and our goblins and our ghosts, there is a wonderful tune to our next psalm of Tzadik Katamar, of Psalm 92. It's on page 22, that Rabbi Donnell asked me, he said, do you remember that tune that we used to do so many years ago? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do.
Yes, when the temple still stood in Jerusalem.
There we go. It is an ancient tune, Mi Sinai. So we turn to page 22, Psalm 92. Tzadik katama yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katama yifrach, tzadik katama yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katama yifrach, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, yizke. Let's get a little ghoulish. You ready? Here we go. Tzadik katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach. Woo! There you go. Katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach. Woo! Ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, yizke. Ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, ke'eres bavanon yizke, yizke. Is it how you remember it?
It's a good introduction.
I'm so glad. We turn now to page 26, Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Bi'amad yivrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uv'izman kariv v'yimaru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam olam me'omaya. Yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudasha b'richu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'necher למטה, דמירם בעלמא, vimaru. Amen. And all those who are able, please rise. Page 28, Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We
Page
can-
31. Oh, page 31.
Together at the bottom of the page. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Page 32. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Akeinu Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu, u'kumenu nashliach bechukecha, v'nishmach b'divrei toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu. V'yorech yameinu, uvahem negei yom v'layla, negei yom v'layla. V'yavadcha al tasir, mimenu li'olam. seated. We turn to page 36 and we join together chanting Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumbecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
As we join together, page 40, Mi Chamocha.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel.
As we continue on page 42, where we have just taken down our sukkot, our shelters of peace, that they were this wonderful place of celebration and also of remembrance. But still, throughout our entire year, we always ask that there be a shelter of peace over us, over Jerusalem, and over the whole world. Hashkivenu, page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom לחיים ושלום, ואתה באדוני. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, חמידנו שומרנו לחיים. Praised are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'akol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, we are guardians of Shabbat. We join together, V'shamru. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש. Turning to page 46, all those who are able, please rise for our Amidah. Adonai sifata tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii gula livnei b'neihem, Lema'an shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol ata rav l'hoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechaker chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofer cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, mi chamocha bal gevurot, umidom el מחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנת לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Top of page 55. Together, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day.
May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day.
And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 57. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land,
in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God,
whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. The top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the
the soul our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty,
for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'cha na'el lehodot. So we join together, Shalom Rav, page 60. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים It is during these moments when we talk about shalom and shleimut, of wholeness and completeness, we also think about our own wholeness and completeness and healing also for all people, each person, those who are in need of healing of mind and of body and of spirit. And so we turn to page 253 for our Misha Berach, to take this opportunity to send blessings out into the world of those who are in need of healing. Hold them in with our own, hold them in our hearts, And sometimes people don't always know that there are blessings being said for them, but I truly believe that somewhere deep and down inside, they can feel it. So at this point, we'll go into our Mishaberach, and then I'll turn and face you, and feel free to add any names for Mishaberach that you would like to call out into our universe, any faith or any tradition. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. Where's Bachman? Karen Spelter. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say together, Amen. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We take a few moments now for silent prayer.
I want to thank Rabbi Cohen and all of my friends at Temple Beth Sholom for allowing us once again to come home for a bit and to share Shabbat and indeed an entire Shabbaton together. I always expect a wonderful reception when I'm here. I must say, when we left Portland, it was 40 going up to 50 degrees that day. And to confess to you that I never really expected quite as warm a welcome as we got. Be that as it may, thank goodness for air conditioning. As I stand here and think about where we are just after the High Holy Days, I can't help but wonder how we are fast approaching what is traditionally the creepiest day of the year. Now, I don't mean the night that your mother-in-law comes for an extended visit, which will sure get me into a lot of trouble. No, of course not. I'm referring to Halloween, All Hallows Eve, the night of goblins, ghosts, witches, and things that go bump into the night. When I made the request of Rabbi Cohen for that particular Tzaddik Katamar, it does go back in ancient history. It goes back to when I was a student, when we used to sing that melody. It may have been new in those days, and we always used to imagine a line of skeletons singing, which is interesting because even the skeletons, Kol atzmotai tomarna, it says in the Psalms, even my very bones sing to you, O God. So maybe even the skeletons did too, I don't know. Nonetheless, it is this night on Halloween soon to come, during which all things dark and scary come out, and I should say really not come out, are indeed brought out, and we disguise ourselves so as to confront and cavort with them without fear, without danger. Halloween gives us an opportunity to make believe, to feel scared, but in a safe environment that we can control and regulate. Psychologists tell us that confronting our fears in a safe way can be very, very healthy. And though Halloween is usually viewed as a children's holiday, adults can benefit from its therapeutic value as much as little ones. Now, the American celebration of Halloween, as we probably know, goes back to European practices, indeed European pagan practices. Its origins can be found in the Celtic festival of Samhain. At this season, this time of turning, when the long days of summer fade, well, trust me, they will, and we stand in anticipation of the long nights of winter, the ancient Celts believed that the barrier between our world and the realm of the spirits and ghosts, that barrier weakens, enabling the weird and the wailful to wander the earth. To ward off these spirits and those mischievous sprites and things that go bump into night, the Celts held a big and noisy party. They lit bonfires and donned costumes to scare these unwanted interlopers and drive them from our mundane world. After the Romans conquered the Celts, they combined Samhain with Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead, thereby preserving many of the customs and rituals of Samhain. Even after Christianity spread throughout Europe, many of these pagan practices and fantasies endured. Perhaps as a means of co-opting rather than competing with these compelling traditions, in the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, incorporating some of the traditions of the ancient Samhain and Feralia observances. The preceding evening was All Hallows Eve, or as it came to be known, Halloween. In America, of course, Halloween became a popular observance as more and more immigrants came to our shores from Ireland and other Celtic cultures, bringing with them many of the traditions associated with Samhain, much to the chagrin of the Puritans, who looked down on what they saw as a pagan holiday celebrating the devil and forces from the dark side. Eventually, the holiday evolved into the secular observance that it is today, with trick-or-treating for candy, bonfires, and bobbing for apples, while children and the childlike bedecked themselves as ghosts, goblins, and witches, as well as pirates, clowns, and the latest movie personalities. It's because of the pagan and Christian origins of Halloween that it is not observed, mostly in most Jewish congregations or institutions, indeed. But that's not to say that Jewish culture is devoid of the otherworldly, the fanciful, the magical, those things that we celebrate on Halloween. Indeed, magic is very much a part of Jewish tradition. In fact, what magician worth her or his salt would ever conjure a rabbit, levitate a chair, or make something disappear without the magic words abracadabra, an incantation generally believed to be derived from the Aramaic words avra cadavra, or I will create as I have spoken. No surprise that this magical formula is cast in the language of the Zohar and much of Kabbalah, both of which are associated in Jewish and Christian cultures with things mystical and magical. As far as monsters, ghosts, and demons are concerned, there is ample evidence that these creepy critters have long been part of Jewish tradition. In regards to ghosts, perhaps the earliest reference in Judaism goes back to the biblical account of King Saul consulting the prophet Samuel's ghost through the medium, pun intended, of the witch of Endor, as recounted in the second book of Samuel. And perhaps the most famous ghosts in Jewish folklore are those that actually invade and take over an unsuspecting human being. I mean, of course, Dybbuk. The term comes from the Hebrew, dibuk miruach ra'ah, meaning the clinging of an evil spirit. These Dybbuks, as they are called, were made famous by the early 20th century Yiddish play, The Dybbuk, by Shlomo Ansky, later made into a famous film in 1937. Now, while these sources are relatively late, we have accounts of possession, usually by demons rather than ghosts, going back to the Talmud. In the realm of monsters, perhaps the most famous Jewish monster was the golem. A golem is a being created out of mud or the earth that is animated through magic. In the Talmud, the sage Rava is said to have created a being which he sent to Rab Ze'ira, who subdued him by force of his own personality, being a great sage. This established the notion that wise sages could create and control a golem, while anyone else was incapable of doing so. The Sefer HaYetzirah, an early medieval text on Jewish esoteric lore, is said to be the source for the incantations necessary to create a golem. The most celebrated golem is probably the famous Golem of Prague, created by the venerated Rabbi Levi of Prague in the 16th century. Now, according to this legend, the Jews of Prague were suffering from persecution during the reign of King Rudolph II, the Holy Roman Emperor. To protect the Jews, Rabbi Levi created a golem out of mud from the banks of the Vltava River. With incantations, he gave life to the mannequin by inscribing the four-lettered name of God on its forehead. The creature came to life and at the rabbi's command set about putting the enemies of the Jews to rout, thereby saving and protecting the community. Fearing that the golem, who legends suggest Rabbi Levi named Joseph or Yossel, fearing that he might act inappropriately during Shabbat, the sage would erase the divine name from the golem's forehead, rendering him the giant inanimate. And then, at the close of Shabbat, the rabbi would once again inscribe the letters on the golem, allowing it to resume its protection of the Jews. Besides serving as the guardian of the Jews, the golem also served the rabbi by performing domestic tasks around the house, such as cleaning and chopping wood. And I imagine this was done at the suggestion of the rabbi's venerable wife. At some point, something went wrong. The golem began to run amok. One legend holds that the fearsome being fell in love with a woman, and when she understandably rejected his advances, the golem turned on the people that he was created to protect. Well, for whatever reason, it appears that the golem went out of control, ran amok, and so Rabbi Levi lured the golem up to the attic to the Altneu Shul, one of the oldest synagogues in existence today. He took him to the attic and then erased the divine name for the last time. It is said that the golem remained there, an inanimate hulk, ever since that very day. I'll be honest with you, though. Back in 1883, when renovations were made to the synagogue, they went up to the attic, took a look. Guess what? No golem was to be found. Are you surprised? This led to the speculation that the monster was stolen from the Geniza in the attic, where they kept the holy books, and entombed in the graveyard in Prague's Žižkov district. There's an ironic twist to this story, though. A modern legend holds that a Nazi agent went to the synagogue during World War II, hoping to find and reanimate the golem to serve the Germans. Needless to say, he didn't find the golem, though it would have been a wonderful miracle had the monster resurfaced, but to wreak retribution on the modern enemies of the Jews. But alas, legends are just fantasy. As an interesting aside, scholars continue to argue whether or not the legends of the golem influenced the 19th century writer Mary Shelley when she wrote her famous book, Frankenstein. I suppose we'll never know if this was fact or just in itself a legend. So then, what do we take away from all of this? In truth, we need fantasy. We need things magical to add texture and color to our world. Fantasy can help us to cope with things and situations that are beyond our ken or control. Fantasy has often been used in difficult times to explain problems and the things we fear, as Jewish folklore used demons and demon possession to explain things from plagues to psychoses. But there's a danger in this as well. Fantasy can be used as a tool to confuse and deceive as surely as it can be entertaining, edifying, and enriching. Do we have any doubt about this truth when we look at our world today and see how the dark side of fantasy can be used in dangerous and destructive ways in order to manipulate people rather than to uplift them? We need to be able to separate fantasy from fact. So go, enjoy Halloween, read a Stephen King thriller, and go see a scary movie. Just keep it all in perspective. In this spirit, and again another pun, I can't help it. In this spirit, during our Shabbaton this weekend, we will explore the Jewish connection to the macabre, morbid, and mysterious as we look at tricks and treats and things that go bump in the night. We began our evening with a good book last night, treating ourselves with stories of Jewish fantasy and science fiction. Tomorrow in our Torah study, we'll delve into the book of Genesis and the way that our Torah tradition plays with things both bizarre and puzzling. Then on Sunday afternoon, I will lead a session on magic, ghosts, and fantasy and the occult in the Talmud and rabbinic literature, while later Wendy will explore Jewish superstitions, cures, and esoteric folk customs in the session that she calls My Friend the Witch Doctor. All in all, it should be a frighteningly informative and chillingly entertaining Shabbaton, and I hope that you will join with us. Shabbat Shalom.
It is my honor to call forward Michelle Singleton to come and to share some things that are going on in the congregation and remind us of the great things for this weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So, as Rabbi said, I am Michelle Singleton, the Director of Social Justice, and so let me give a plug for that. If you haven't joined us or don't know what it's all about, please do reach out to us. We did select homelessness. We do feed people every week, as everyone knows, so wait for more information about that. We're trying to help Orange County, right, with our homelessness population issues, or challenges, I should say. So again, reach out and let us know if you're interested in what you can do. No gift, no activity is too small. Right. That being said, you do have a bulletin, and Rabbi Donnell so graciously told us all about what's going on this weekend. So please join with us as we celebrate he and Wendy joining us again here at home at Temple Beth Shalom. It should be a frightening, fun adventure all weekend long. So please make sure that you add that to your schedule if you don't already. Couple other things to note is we have a fabulous adult education program going on this year. Rabbi is doing yet another Pirkei Avot. I know I'm not saying it right, but it's been really great. We had the first one, so join us for the second if you haven't already. It was very good and very meaningful. Cantor, while not here tonight, will be starting his Jewish drama class. That looks like fun, and the very first play we're reading is only 53 pages long, so it won't take a long time for you to read it. Some other things to keep in mind is we're going to do Cupcake Wars. So I know that the membership committee has been working really hard on this, so please come and join us. There are flyers outside. No one is too old or too young, and so please make sure that you look for that information as well. And finally, Sarah Schweitz is here, as is my mother, Susan Jasper. Please join us in the gift shop. The Sisterhood is always selling fabulous things, and if you can't find what you want, we'll certainly order it and get it for you. That being said, thank you to Rabbi Donnell and Wendy Bukarski for joining us as always. We enjoy it when you visit, and Shabbat Shalom.
And Ruth Aptaker is here from membership, and so she's very excited about Cupcake Wars. I saw that excitement there. So definitely November 9th, right, for Cupcake Wars. Yeah, so definitely come for that. So that will be a wonderful treat for all of us. So we turn now to Aleinu L'Shabeach, and we turn to page 282, and I invite all who are able to please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, l'tekru l'yotze b'reshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachat adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegar aleinu kechol כל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Please be seated. As we take these moments to remember two important yard sites.
As we are about to enter moments of Kaddish memory, recalling loved ones and those important to ourselves and our people, I'd like to mention one person whose yard site we observe this Shabbat. Her name may not be familiar to you, but I hope you will become familiar with her name and her legacy. Her name was Regina Jonas, and October 12th is observed as the most likely date for her yard site, the 25th of Tishrei, which was this past Wednesday. Regina Jonas was born in Berlin in 1905. And in 1935, she became the first woman ordained as a rabbi. Now, other women had served as Jewish leaders before her, but she was the first to be ordained. Now, we usually think of Sally Priesand, Rabbi Priesand, who was ordained in 1972 by Hebrew Union College. However, before her time by almost 40 years, Regina Jonas, herself a graduate of the Hochschule für des Wissenschaft des Judentums, that's a mouthful, our Reformed seminary in Germany, she was ordained. Her graduate thesis, though, before she was ordained, her graduate thesis at the Hochschule was on the topic, can a woman be a rabbi according to halakha? It may have been brilliantly written, but evidently did not convince the head of the committee to approve ordinations, who turned her down. But despite the actions of the powers that be at the Hochschule, she went to the foremost Reform rabbi of her day in Berlin, Leo Beck. But he was fearful about dividing the Jewish people with such a controversial action. In those days, remember, it was 1935, with all that was beginning to happen in Germany. Nonetheless, she persevered. She wasn't about to say no or give up. And she was able to receive ordination from Rabbi Max Dienerman, who was then the head of the Liberal Rabbis Association, and indeed, she was ordained. She served with difficulty, as you can imagine, in those years as a rabbi, even having to face a complete theft, robbery of all her possessions, including her wonderful new library of Judaica, to capitulate time and again to the Nazis just so she continued to serve her people until 1942, when she was sent to Theresienstadt. She even served as a rabbi there, ministering to her fellow Jewish prisoners, until 1944, when she was deported to Auschwitz, where she was murdered. Though largely forgotten, she nonetheless left an important and precious legacy. We as Jews should honor her. We as Reformed Jews especially should pay tribute and honor to this rabbi, who was indeed and should be one of our heroes. So tonight, when we recite our words of Kaddish, let us remember Rabbi Regina Jonas.
1 year ago on Sunday, a gunman went into Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh and there murdered 11 people. This poem, They Sat in the Back, by Hannah Daniel. We sat in the back. We were 13 years old, itchy, tired, and we didn't want to be there. We were anxious to leave our seats. We sat in the back to sulk, to count on our fingers how many more Saturday morning services we would have to endure before we could check the box for our B'nai Mitzvah. We picked at our nails, but we sang the blessings because we loved them even still. The minutes limped along. We shifted in our dresses and our ballet flats, and we were getting a little too small. Our stomachs rumbled as we waited for Kiddush, and we sat in the back of the room. They also sat in the back, our matriarchs, our door holders, the ones who had prepared our Kiddush that morning. The ones who knew the code to the building was the same year it was built. The ones who drove us to this service, they were the ones who sang in the choir, the ones who taught your children the Aleph Bet. They sat nearest to the entrance, the ones who walked with walkers, the ones who parked right outside the temple doors to rest their stiff backs on stiffer benches each Saturday morning. The ones who have seen their children and their children's children through the sanctuary's doors. They built this place up from the ground, and they sat in the back. We did not want to sit in the front where we might catch the eye of the rabbi, where God might see our lips stumble on prayers. We sat in the back so we might easily slip out to use the bathroom, to get a drink of water, to check the broken clock in the hall. We sat in the back so that we could be the first to leave. They sat in the back because they arrived early. They were our living ancestors, our minyan makers. They sat in the back and they knew your name because they had been the first ones to welcome your family into the synagogue with a warm hug and boker tov. We sat in the back. We wanted to leave. They sat in the back. They didn't have time. We remember on this Shabbat those 11 individuals who sat in the back and so tragically gunned down 1 year ago on Sunday. Joyce Feinberg, 75 years old. Richard Gottfried, 65 years old. Rose Mallinger, 97 years old. Jerry Rabinowitz, 66 years old. Cecil Rosenthal, 59 years old. David Rosenthal, 54 years old, and also the brother of Cecil. Bernice Simon, 84 years old. Sylvan Simon, 86 years old, husband of Bernice. Daniel Stein, 71 years old. Melvin Wax, 88 years old. And Irving Younger, 69 years old. With them, with Rabbi Regina Jonas, we remember those who are no longer with us. We remember Mark Cohen, who recently departed. We remember those whose yard sites we recall on this Shabbat and during this coming week. Saul Chase, Faye Fortinsky, Bertha Grossman, Willie Jasper, Inez Gertrude Corson, Simon Levy, Faye Miller, Harry Morris, Robert Pivo, Harry Post, Louis Randolph, Don Robinson, Louis Romanek, Helen Lee Rowan, Robert Sherman, Ralph Sherman, Alfred Stern, Annette Whitehead, and Henyet Zalkberg. If there is anyone here who's in the period of mourning of Shiva, Shloshim, or Shana, or is observing a yard site of a loved one whose name I have not called, I invite you as I face in your direction, please share their names with us. for all of them and for all of those who have given their lives al Kiddush Hashem, for the sanctification of God's holy name, and for all of those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We rise now together on page 294, Kaddish Yatom, our mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Be'alma divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach le'elam u'lomei maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitdaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, Leila mikol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all the bereaved among us. And let us say together, Amen. Before our closing song, which will be on page 321, Adon Olam, we join together with Motzi. Robert, will you come join me, please? Thank you so much. Here we go. Find your favorite spot. Perfect. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Take a piece. Awesome. B'tei avon. And Rabbi Donnell, you know, our blessings come not only from our hands, but also from God on high. But I'm not going to throw it to you. There you go. Yeah. So we turn to page 321, Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra, Lieg Nasa, Bechefso Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Kichlot hakol levado imloch nora vehu haya vehu hoven vehu yiyeh betifara Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivrach li'ek nasa v'chesed kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hoveh hu yiyeh betifara Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivrach li'ek nasa v'chesed kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hoveh betifara vehu haya vehu hoveh betifara. Toda raba, Nancy.
And thank you, Rabbi Cohen, once again. Baruchim atem bevoachem, bruchim atem b'tzeitachem, me'ata ve'ad olam. Blessed were you in entering this place of worship. So may you be blessed now as you take your leave from it, with a Shabbat of health, of happiness, of the sweet shalom that comes between the notes. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. No, I thank you, really, for the privilege.
Awesome. I love the sermon and the story. See, we have the synagogue right up there in the blue window.
The ultimate show.
Uh-huh.
Appropriate indeed. I should have pointed it out.
And we went to Prague with the congregation this year.
I still want to go.
And I saw the ladder,
You didn't see the Golem?
I looked at the letter. I'm like, who's going to boost me up? So it turns out they do sleepovers during Sukkot.
Because
they
it's-
will sleep in the attic.
Because it's haunted?
I guess, of course you may, please. And thank you so much for coming and doing candles and kiddush with us. You were awesome.